Okay. Couple of announcements before we start. There are quite a few people who are on this. We're very glad that you are. What we have found in the past is when there's been more than 20, 25 people, occasionally we'll get some feedback over the audio lines. So if you are able to do this, go ahead and mute your microphone or mute your phone, except when you want to ask a question or when we're doing introductions, which we'll do in a minute. But the more people that are on mute, the less likely we'll have background interference. So we just want to make sure of that. After prePETS, you'll get an email with a survey link. We really do need your feedback on this for a couple reasons. One is it's the first time we've done something like a prePETS, at least since I've been district trainer. So we need your feedback on that. We also always need your feedback on if there were any technology issues. And if you are also going to be going to PETS, we'll be getting your feedback there as well. And by that time, you'll have a better idea perhaps of how well prePETS did in supplementing the learnings that took place at PETS. So we're going to get your feedback after this, but also after PETS. So expect that email sometime this weekend. This is going to be an interactive session. That's why we're kind of using Zoom and able to see all your faces, as many as possible. So do not hesitate to ask questions. If you have anything to interject as we go through this, please feel free to do so. My job, other than to do some of the training, is to also keep us on time so that we are done by 11. So if the discussion gets rambling, I may ask that we move on. What I'd like to do right off the bat is just have everyone introduce themselves, just your name, your club, and your club role. And I'm going to just use how I'm seeing everyone on the screen here, so we're not yelling out at once. Let's start with Michael Barrio.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Barrio. I'm Vice President and Managing Partner of a Public Affairs and Lobbying firm. And I think that's my only role right now. In Rotary, just President-elect.
President-elect, perfect. Let's see, Bruce Mulligan.
Yeah, I'm Bruce Mulligan, aspiring ski bum and President-elect of Taos Milagro Rotary Club.
Awesome, thank you. Jennifer Horsley.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. I am with the Rotary Club of El Paso, President-elect for the year 2019.
Fantastic. Kathy Fuller. Kathy, you are on mute.
Okay. I've already flunked my first test. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kathy Fuller. I am the district's executive secretary, and I try to keep Jeff out of trouble, or he tries to keep me out of trouble. So it's a tough job for both of us. Good morning, everybody.
Thank you. Tammy?
Hi, I'm Tammy Chavez. I'm from the Clayton Rotary Club, and I'm the president-elect.
Awesome, thank you. Guy?
I'm Guy Floyd in Las Cruces. I'm assistant governor for the South team.
Perfect, thank you. Andrea?
I'm Andrea Dresser, president-elect of the Las Cruces Mesilla Valley Club, and a special shout out to Michael, who used to be part of our club.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Todd? Todd Wilson?
My name is Todd Wilson. I'm the president-elect of the Gallup Club.
Awesome. Thank you. Christy?
I'm Christy Baskett. I'm actually currently the vice president in the Las Vegas Club, but I will be president-elect on July 1st.
Perfect. Thank you. Dick Jones?
Hi, I'm Dick Jones. I'm in Santa Fe, member of the Rotary Club of Santa Fe. I am a past district governor, and I'm serving on the membership committee this year. And just whatever else Doreen needs me to do. Sweep up, take out the trash. She tells me and I do it.
Perfect. Thank you. Dom. Dom, you're on mute.
I'm Dominic Bernardi. I'm presently the grants chairman for the district. I'm with the Albuquerque Club. I'll be working with Doreen as the chair of the district foundation committee.
Awesome. Thank you. And speaking of Doreen.
Okay, I'm unmuted. I'm Doreen Kelsey. I'm a member of the Albuquerque Del Sol Rotary Club. I'm district governor-elect, and I just want to thank everyone for being on the call today, and I'm looking forward to working with you and serving your clubs.
Great, thank you. Monica. Monica, okay, there we go.
Hi, guys. I am president-elect for Albuquerque Metro Rotary Club.
Awesome. Thank you. Laura?
Hi, I'm Laura Loy from the Rotary Club of Los Alamos. And I was president-elect until this past Tuesday when I found out our president-elect was no longer able to serve. So all of a sudden I've become president-elect and ready to get shored up and go.
Excellent, thank you. Yale Jones.
Hi, good morning. Yale Jones. I'm in the Taos Milagro Rotary Club, and I am the lieutenant governor of the North Action Team. And I'm very happy to see at least 3 presidents-elect in the conference this morning.
Awesome, thank you. Roger?
Good morning, everyone. Roger Nagel, Nagel CPAs, President-elect 2017-2018 of the Rio Rancho Rotary Club, and also very active in the Rio Rancho Rotary Foundation.
Awesome, thank you very much. And then it says, "Oh, Livian's iPad." And you're on mute.
That's Jeanette Kuhn.
Hi, Jeanette. And what club are you with, and what is your role?
I am president-elect for Sunrise Rotary. And I also have Wendy Anderson here. She's going to be on the Community Service Committee.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Jeff, a question. Is that Roswell Sunrise or Rio Rancho Sunrise?
El Paso.
Oh, or El Paso Sunrise. Okay.
El Paso.
Thank you. Bert. Bert Parnell?
Hi, Bert Parnell. I am president-elect, and just wanted to get started early with getting familiar with this. Hello, Dom, Doreen, Tom, and Bill Dennis.
Awesome. Bruce.
Good morning. Bruce Bortner from the Rotary Club of Albuquerque Del Sol. I'm an assistant governor in the central area, and my clubs are Grants, Milan, Del Norte, and Albuquerque, and the Albuquerque Club, which we finally call the Downtown Club.
Awesome. Kathy Williams.
Hi, good morning. I'm with the Del Norte Club. However, I'm currently an AG in the Central District, but next year I'll be taking over as the AG as the LG for the Central District.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. Angelita?
Hi, I'm Angelita Steinhoff. I'm president-elect, and I have with me Michelle.
I'm the president, well, she's the president-elect, I'm the president-elect for the White Sands Rotary Club in Alamogordo.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you both for coming.
Thank you.
Let's see. Kelly.
There we go. Kelly Wainwright. I'm with the Rio Rancho Rotary Sunrise, and I'm the president-elect.
Thank you very much. Scott?
Good morning. Scott Stafford. I'm president-elect of the Albuquerque Del Norte Club.
Thank you, Scott. Dan.
Good morning. I'm Dan Klingelsmith. I'm an alternate. I'm not the president-elect
our president-elect could not make this meeting. And he can't make PETS, so I'm going to be there.
Got it. Thank you. Let's see. Bill Dennis. Bill? Can't hear Bill, but Bill is an AG and he's at the Downtown Albuquerque Club. Is that correct, Bruce?
That's correct.
Okay. Don Powell. Don? Okay.
By the way, I forgot to say I'm from the Rotary Club of Albuquerque.
Oh, there's Bill. Hi, Bill.
Yes, Bill Dennis, and I'm Albuquerque Club. I'm assistant governor for Rio Rancho, Sandia, Moriarty, and Metro.
Perfect. Okay, Tom Antrim.
Hey, here, Jeff. Did you get that feedback?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Tom Antrim, Rotary Club of Albuquerque, and I'm the current president-elect.
Got it. And I got a message from Don Powell that he is here, which is good. We've got two people on the phone, an 838-1309 phone number. Who is that?
That's the 18-8309 is Dan Klingel-Smith.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Dan. And then 603-9802, who is that?
That's me, Kevin Moots, president-elect for Rotary Club of Angel Fire.
Hi, Kevin. Welcome. And just got a note from Don that he is the president-elect for West El Paso. So, okay. Thank you all, and we are ready to get the show on the road. So, again, this is interactive. Please feel free to interject as we go through this. We look at, and Doreen has been very helpful in figuring out how we were going to do PETS as well as pre-PETS this year, and we kind of look at training for presidents-elect and perhaps presidents-elect-elect in kind of three buckets. Things that you need to be able to do, things that you need to be, would be things like an effective communicator, motivator, more like leadership styles, and things you need to know. And when we decided we were going to do a pre-PETS, we thought that it would be most helpful to use this session to focus on things you need to do, which is why we sent out the club president's manual, because much of what you need to do is covered in that manual. So what we're going to kind of do this morning is take a medium-sized dive into that manual, kind of go through the key pieces of it. There'll be occasions when I'm going to turn it over to Kathy Fuller, or actually Kathy's just going to steal it from me, and she's going to walk you through specific forms or websites or things that you need to know or get to know, both on Rotary.org, the main Rotary website, but also on our district website. So Kathy will take over as she needs to, and that is automatic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the Club President's Manual. Is everyone seeing this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm just going to be scrolling through this and picking out highlights. By the way, I don't know, and Doreen would know, if you all have received yet hard copies of not just, let's say, the President's Manual, but also there are manuals for your secretary, your treasurer, committee chairs, things like that. So I don't know whether you've received a packet yet, but I would highly recommend, if you haven't yet, to go into Rotary.org and not just download this President's Manual, which you may already have, but those other club officer manuals. They're very helpful, not just for those people to know, but also for you to know.
Jeff, those will be distributed at PETS.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to scroll through this, and at any time, if I miss anything or there's something that you all want to go over, please let me know. But there's a few things I definitely want to cover with you. By the way, I would just say that I've seen the President's Manual every year for the last 6 or 7 years. This is, to me, the best one that they've done. It's very easy to follow, and there's a lot of useful information in it. The first thing that's, I think, really important is an update on what came out of the most recent council and legislation, which happens every couple of years. I would say the key word here, and Dick, feel free to jump in since you're very involved in this. To me, the most important word to come out of this council and legislation is flexibility. Flexibility in membership, flexibility in meeting time, attendance. So I think Rotary is wanting the clubs to be a lot more agile in terms of how they manage club affairs. And I think this is good for all of us. We still have guidelines to follow, but we have a lot more flexibility. And these 2 pages will kind of give you an overview of what you may be able to do that past presidents and past clubs were not able to do. Dick, do you want to touch on anything here for a minute?
Well, no, I think agile's a good way to put it. Rotary is really looking to build membership, and one of the ways that we found to do that is to recruit younger members, provide more flexibility, not be as strict as we've been on the attendance requirements, and just look at different ways, because the fellowship of a meeting is important, but the meeting itself is not particularly what Rotary's about. It's the service that we do while we're in Rotary. So it's about getting people that will do the service, and Rotary's really making a large effort to give us a fresh new look, as in with this book that Jeff pointed out. I'll also mention that the RI website has a new face on it. So if you haven't looked at it this week, be sure and do that, because that's just part of what they're doing to make Rotary fresh and flexible and more inviting.
Okay. And I would say, as you go through these first 2 pages especially, if there's anything that you need clarity on, I would say talk to your assistant governor first and foremost, and if they can't help you, contact a member of the district leadership team. Maybe if it's a membership issue, talk to the membership committee, but your assistant governor and lieutenant governor should be able to help kind of sift through a lot of these changes, because they're very important. So one other thing that's interesting here is the dual membership for Rotaractors. I know some of the clubs have already done that, so that's something to think about if your club is involved with a Rotaract club, that they can have dual membership, which is a great advantage as well. Okay, so really important 2 pages right there. Okay. The President's Manual has 7 chapters, and each one kind of goes into a key aspect of your role as a president-elect. We're going to go through each one, kind of cover the key points. This would be an opportunity if there's any questions, or if others who are assistant governors, lieutenant governors, to chime in and interject any best practices that you're aware of, or other things you want to share. We'll start with plan your year. Before we get to plan your year, there's this very nice promo for what are you waiting for, be a vibrant club. So there's a second document that I sent out. I like it because it has a lot of pictures. I'm going to shift over to that very quickly and just do a 10,000-foot view of what is covered in that. But if you haven't had a chance to take a look at it, it's a very helpful document. So I'm going to shift over to that just for a minute. Okay, you all seeing that?
Yes.
Okay. So I like this because not only does it have a lot of pictures, but it's also relatively short, but it really has good ideas to consider that are addressed in the President's Manual. So the President's Manual says, here's what you need to do. This gives you some ideas to consider if you are not sure how you want to proceed. And it goes through the kind of the same order of things, but it's got, again, nice pictures. And in each section, it has ideas to try. So decide where your club wants to be in 3 to 5 years. That's planning. We'll talk about that in a minute, but it's got ideas to try. You may already have other ideas, or you may have talked to your predecessor and you already have kind of your plan laid out. But this is very nice to kind of give you some things to think about for each of the areas where you need to be president. Setting goals for the club and entering them into Club Central. Kathy will walk us through that when we get to that chapter in the President's Manual, but it does have some ideas to try here. You'll also notice on the right-hand side, in each of the sections, it has other resources. And I do recommend that you go into Rotary.org and pull them down. The Strategic Planning Guide is very helpful. The Rotary Club Central Resource Course in the Learning Center. So Rotary.org has an entire learning center where you can go in and kind of do self-learning. So there's very helpful information there. Again, ideas to try for holding club assemblies, again, with resources. So for each section we cover, there's another section in this Be a Vibrant Club that will give you some ideas. And it's certainly worth going through these and seeing if there's things you want to try.
Jeff, can I add something quickly?
Absolutely.
In order to use these resources, you need to create your profile on My Rotary. So everybody needs to do that in order to access the resources.
That's a good point. And so if you don't have an account in My Rotary, you should go ahead and set one up immediately. Especially as a president-elect, you're going to be needing access to some of those documents that Doreen was alluding to. So please make sure you have an account. You'll also, and Kathy will touch on this about access to the district website, but you definitely want to make sure you have an account with My Rotary. The fourth section deals with communicating with your club, very important. Preparing members for future roles. So we talk a lot about succession planning, and I'm glad to see that there's some presidents-elect that are on this. But it's very important to kind of have a succession plan in place, including the case in Los Alamos where the president-elect was not able to serve. It's always good to have someone ready to step in. There's a section on club bylaws. We'll talk about that in more detail when we get to the President's Manual. I like to think about the president-elect year as a learning and preparation year. And your year as president is an execution year. So the more you learn and prepare now, the more effective you'll be when you're executing. Because the one thing you don't want to be doing is trying to prepare and execute at the same time. So that's why a lot of this information is really helpful. Developing strong relationships within your club. Again, there's a number of activities that it talks about here, some ideas to try. Make sure that all members are involved in activities that interest them. Again, we'll talk about how to get feedback from your club about their interests and how to align interests to club activities. Coaching new and current members in leading. So assistant governors and lieutenant governors were all past presidents. And one of the reasons why they're serving in assistant governor or lieutenant governor role is because they can now take their experience and help the clubs that are in their purview and their leadership be more effective. So it's always a good idea to kind of keep the pipeline open. And then creating committees that are practical. There's some guidance in the manual about how to organize your committees. So for those of you who are still working on that, there's some ideas to consider. And that's basically it. It's a nice best practices, ideas generator type document. I highly recommend you go through it. And again, if you have questions or want to discuss any of those issues that are brought up, I would start with your assistant governor and maybe others in your club who have been president, as well as the clubs in your area. So plenty of opportunities to get help from others. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. So. Okay, very helpful document. I'm going to go back to the President's Manual. Any questions or anything about the Be a Vibrant Club for those of you who've used it before we close out of it? Okay. Be a Vibrant Club. By the way, from the district leadership standpoint, one of our jobs is to help clubs be vibrant. So, so please call on us if you need any assistance, because that is one of our most important jobs, is to help the clubs be successful. Okay. So here's what's interesting. Before we get into the first chapter, it has your job as club president, and it's got a little checklist here. As president-elect, what you should be doing. So let's just run through these quickly. We'll do the same thing for your year as president. Consult the club president on decisions affecting the club. So you're not in a vacuum. Make sure that you're part of the team. You're likely going to be on the board anyway as a president-elect, but you do want to have a good relationship with your current club president, because decisions that occur now may affect the year that you're president. You want to make sure that you're part of that discussion. Serve as a director of your club's board. Again, that's this year is if you're president-elect. Appoint committee chairs and a trainer. So the end of December is when your clubs were supposed to report into Rotary International who was going to be on your board, and so hopefully all of that's been done. But you also want to start working with them. Get them prepared just like you're getting prepared. Supervise preparation of the club budget. I can just, for myself, that was maybe one of the hardest things for me to do, since I'm not a budget person, but I needed to really spend some time working with the treasurer and the current president and the other committees on making sure that we had a budget ready to go by the time July 1st rolled around. Encourage incoming club officers to attend district training assembly. Doreen, do you want to do a pitch for the district training assembly?
The district training assembly will be held in Albuquerque at the Crown Plaza on March 25th. We're bringing back an in-person district assembly, and one of the reasons that we're doing that is to create more opportunities for networking and fellowship among Rotarians. One of the things that I enjoy most about being a district leader is that I get to spend time with other great Rotarians in our district, and I'd like to make those opportunities available to all Rotarians. It's another way to supplement your learning from this session and PETS. It'll be good preparation for your year. And finally, it's a great way to cultivate the future leaders of your club and plan for your own succession. So I hope everyone will join us. We've got some great guests coming in from other districts that will motivate and inspire us, and the registration will be available sometime next week on the district website.
Awesome. Thank you, Doreen. And just as Doreen mentioned before, create an account on Rotary.org. You want to do that now if you haven't done so already. Attend PETS, the district assembly, and the district conference. And as we pointed out in the communications to all the presidents-elect, if a president-elect cannot attend PETS, it's very important that a designate from the club attend PETS in lieu of the president-elect. So it's very important that every club be represented. Part of that's just because a lot of the information is provided there. Whoever the designate is can take that information back to the president-elect if the president-elect was not able to attend.
Jeff, may I jump in on this too? Because this is really important. Attendance at PETS is not an optional situation. It is one of the only things that is required. So if the president-elect cannot attend, it's critical and required that somebody else attend in that person's place. Participation in district activities will be impacted. So to retain your eligibility, we're being very flexible. Just let me know who's going to be your substitute, and make sure that your club is represented.
Perfect. Thank you. And then set and track goals in Rotary Club Central at Rotary.org. And when we get to that particular chapter, Kathy will talk to you and maybe walk through a demo of how that works. So here are things for you to consider as president-elect. If you haven't done them yet, this would be a good time to kind of get going on those. And then there's a second page on all the things you need to do as president. So now you're in execution mode. So this is now, come July 1st, what do I need to be doing? And we're not going to go through all of these in detail because they're going to be covered in the various chapters. But as you can imagine, the checklist is longer for the year that you're executing than it is for the year that you're preparing. So, so if anything, it's good to know ahead of time what you need to do as president so that you can prepare effectively, ask questions, make sure you're comfortable. You don't want to walk in July 1st not knowing what it is you need to do. So, so I would say use this checklist to make sure that you are adequately prepared to take on those various roles.
Jeff, could we look at item number 3, then make sure your secretary and treasurer have an account? That's also critical then. And again, just having layers of folks then in case something happens to someone, then the president, the secretary, and the treasurer should each be able to access or make adjustments to both Club Runner and Club Central as far as updating information and retrieving information. So very important that all 3 of those club officers have set up their Rotary account.
Absolutely. Also, and I know Kathy is on the call, we really want to make sure that all the clubs attend a district conference. It's our big shindig for the year. It's a great opportunity for networking and fellowship, as Doreen pointed out with the assembly. It's a lot of fun, but there's also very important information that's covered there. So please make every effort, not just for yourselves, but also to make sure that your club membership is aware that attending the district conference is one of the most important things to do as a Rotarian in our district. Kathy, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, just to highlight the date again, it's May 4th through May 7th. There is a link on the website right now to register, and I'd like to just point out if you're going to get materials that you can hand out at your club next week. However, you might just want to announce that we have an early bird special for registration, which includes all the events for the entire weekend, and it's $199. And on March, I believe it's March 17th, that will change to $250. So you can save, over $50 right now if you register for the early bird. So I would highly recommend that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I also want to touch briefly on this last bullet. It's not one that we would necessarily cover in the specific chapters, but I really like the idea of having a joint meeting of the incoming board with the outgoing board rather than having the incoming board start July meeting, because there's a lot of preparation and a lot of transition that occurs between the current board and the incoming board. So if you as a president-elect have a number of new people serving on the board for your year, I really do recommend that well before July there be a joint meeting. And the meeting would be a slightly different agenda because you've got both boards there. But I think the more the current board and the incoming board interact and work together, the more effective a transition that's going to be between the 2 years. So great idea there. Other thoughts or comments before we get into the meat? Okay. So planning your year. So what I really like about the way they've structured the President's Manual now is that in each of the chapters, they have this little section that talk about the specific responsibilities as it relates to planning. So we just take a quick look at this near the bottom. Develop and evaluate your club's strategic plan. So you don't want July 1st to ask yourself, do we have a strategic plan? You'd like to know now, does the club have a strategic plan? How's that plan working? Do we need to make any changes to it? So that's one of the things you want to be doing in preparation for your year as president, is get a sense of what the status is on your club's strategic plan. It may end up being that the plan is going so well that you're not going to make too many changes and you're just going to continue to execute the plan that's already in place. Or there may be pieces of the plan that may not be working so well, so you have some ammunition for the things you may want to be changing the year that you're president. So using this time to get a sense of what the current strategic plan is very important. Setting goals in Rotary Club Central, again, that will come out of whatever strategic planning you would have to do, but even if your club has a strategic plan now, that plan may not have identified goals for the next Rotary year. So you certainly want to make sure that you have goals identified and put into Club Central. I'm going to turn it over to Kathy in a second to go through that. This one I love. Create an action plan for each goal. I don't know about you, but having a goal but not doing any work to accomplish it, it's not likely going to get accomplished. So you want to make sure that there are action plans or something that the club has to do to accomplish the goals. And my personal experience is that's a great role for the club committees, because the committees do a lot of the execution of what's in the strategic plan. Not all of it, but a lot of it. So maybe that's done in conjunction with your various committee chairs. But you want to make sure that there's work involved towards accomplishing goals. Otherwise, they're just a wish. And then finally, attend training to develop goals with your leadership team. I would consider this and PETS as a training you're going to be getting to help develop goals. And one thing that we want to plant the seeds for today is that the last couple of years at PETS, we had a session, or we had time dedicated for presidents-elect to sit with their assistant governors and put goals into Club Central. Some clubs had already done that, some clubs had not. Our recommendation is that you start working with your board now, if you haven't done so, get your goals figured out, and enter them into Club Central before you get to PETS. Part of that is because we're not going to have a dedicated block of time at PETS to do it, but the sooner you get going on your goal setting, the better off you are. And you can always go back into Club Central if you need to modify a goal. But our view is use this time to meet with your board, set your goals, and enter them into Club Central. And Kathy will walk you through today how that works, but then you can also ask for help outside of the training. And then once you're president, you want to be evaluating progress towards the goals, because sometimes they're not working so well, you need to make a change. Inspire club members to participate in club activities, and certainly celebrate accomplishments, right? Anytime we accomplish a goal, we want to make sure the club knows about it and we really celebrate success. Okay. Kathy, do you want to go ahead and walk through the Club Central module?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And then let's kind of go on to the next page then, Jeff.
Okay.
All right. So we have strategic planning, and Jeff has given us a great presentation on the importance of strategic planning and setting your goals. And as Jeff and Doreen have both said, then that the best place to do that then for Rotary is through your My Rotary. So let me go ahead and share my screen.
All right, let me stop my sharing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and do I need to, let me do that again. And over here. Okay, can you see the My Rotary screen?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, and so this is what it looks like when you log into to Rotary.org, and hopefully all of you have been here already. As past District Governor Dick Jones said, they did a major upgrade last week, and in fact, some of us were kind of surprised by that, even though they said they were going to be doing some work on the website. But it's just really very engaging and just a huge improvement over what the website used to look like even 5 years ago. If you have never created your My Rotary account, it's pretty straightforward. You would go to Rotary.org, and here on the upper right-hand corner, you can either register or sign in. Let me just go to the register button. And so you just give this basic information, your first name, your last name, your sign-in email. What I would suggest is that you use the same email address that you use for your Rotary in general. If your club secretary or president, anyone who contacts you, as well as what you might have for the district. So using the same email is very helpful. Are you 18 years or older? Well, I think most of us are, unless you're in Interact. But go ahead and do that, and then continue. And so that will lead you then to creating your account. I'm going to go ahead and go back then, and because I have already created that. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign in for those of you who've done that already. So let's sign into my Rotary. And,
Kathy, I have a question while you're doing that.
Yes.
In the past, it wouldn't let you register unless you used the same email that was on file for your membership with your club. So is that still important?
That may very well be the case then, Doreen. I don't know that for a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised.
So if anyone is having trouble, they can check with their club secretary to see what email is being used for you. If you haven't paid attention to it, it might be an email that you don't use anymore.
Right, and so that's correct. And if you should have problems, you can't get hold of your secretary, or the secretary's having difficulty, then you can always email me. And just right up front, emailing me or texting me is the best way to get in touch with me. I've got, just like everyone else, just a crazy work schedule, and so. And I'm a visual person, so if I've got that visual reminder, then I'm going to be able to get back with you. So I've asked Rotary then to remember my password, and some of you may or may not do that, but I'll just go ahead and sign in. And Jeff and I noticed the other day then that things were moving a little bit slowly, but hopefully that won't be the case today then. And so so here comes in, that has me here with my Rotary email address, kfuller5520@gmail.com. And again, we go back to the same home page then for Rotary. To get to where we're working on as far as setting your club's goals and much of the work you're going to want to do, you're going to go to this Manage button right in the middle of the theme line here. I'm not really sure what the technical term is for that, but we'll go to Manage. And then over here on the left-hand side, you'll see Club Administration. I don't know if you'll see District Administration. Some of the things that you see might be different from what I have, just because of working with the district. And but if you can follow along with me, if you can go ahead and open up your Rotary, your My Rotary account, that might be helpful right now. But Club Administration, and then down at the bottom, you'll see Rotary Club Central. And that's where we're wanting to go. You'll hear Club Central, you will hear Club Runner, and so it is kind of confusing. Club Central is with Rotary International. Club Runner is for Rotary International. So again, I'm going to be going to my club, Alamogordo, and so as you can see, then I can go in. Let me just do this real quickly. I can go in then as the executive secretary. I can pull up any of the clubs within our district. I may not want to do that just for time involved. Yeah, let me go back to Club Alamogordo. So if you should have problems or concerns, and I can access some information, but not all. All right, so I'm going to continue then for my club. The wheels are turning, the hamsters are working. But I did not feed the hamsters this week. They might. Okay, here we go. And so you may come up with something like this then, that as I scroll down then you can see we have a club view, a district view, and you guys should be able to see each of these. So it's really pretty cool to look at what the district is doing in regards to various trends as well as globally. Well, let's just take a look at your club then for the time being, and we have trends. And the top first trend then is for your club is the membership trends. And one of the first things you can do is well, how are we doing with our membership? And most everyone is concerned about membership, and Dick and Kathy can speak to that better than I can. But Rotary International is concerned about membership, and we're all doing all that we can then to include other folks with us as we work to make the world a better place. So membership trends, you can see how Alamogordo Club has done here in the past 5 years. Going on down, we can also see gender and age. And one of the things that we don't have a problem with is reporting gender, but sometimes we don't always give folks to give us the year they're born. We have everyone's day and month of that they were born, but not always the year that they were born. And that's really pretty interesting information then if you can get that and enter that. And so here as we scroll on down though is where we get to goals and progress. And so right now, if you are a president of your club, you are able to go in and set your goals or edit your goals, and I'm not going to mess with what's been done for ours. As a president-elect, what you will do is that you will actually go to the 2017-2018 year, which is what you'll be doing then come July 1st. And as Jeff said, we can start doing this right now. So I'm just going to click on this just to see if I can do that already. Our president-elect is going to join us next Saturday. So you click on the year that you're wanting to work, and we'll go back down to that then. And all right, and so I'm not sure that it's actually going to let me. Doesn't look like it's going to let me make any changes there, and that's probably just as well, because I would have put 2,000 in, that we're going to have 2,000 members, and everybody would have had heart failure then, right? Especially White Sands and Tularosa clubs going, Fuller, what are you up to? So anyway, we can look at membership. We will be looking at Rotarian engagement, and that's really what you're wanting to look at. If we continue to scroll down, this is very, very easy to use, very intuitive, but we want to get folks involved in club activities and sponsoring new Rotarians. At what time Rotary has had that recognizing Rotarians who bring in another Rotarian with a little button, and but I think they've discontinued that then. It might have been kind of a crazy program to manage, but sponsoring new Rotarians, participating in leadership development, which includes Rio Grande Academy, Rotary action groups, fellowships, attending district conference, which these are all great goals that you can set and easy to manage. Communications, then, you can also set your goals. Just setting a strategic plan, and again, Jeff has talked about the importance of establishing a strategic plan. If you don't know where you're going, well, you'll probably end up there. Online presence, many folks have websites. Some of them are through Club Runner that they've been set up, and others are set up through a different platform. Number of social activities. I really appreciate that District Governor-elect Doreen is going to have a district assembly again this year, and I think just the opportunities to make new friends. Laura Loy in Los Alamos and I were just exchanging a couple of chats, and just being able to make the connection with Rotaries and with other Rotarians and how significant that is in sharing ideas, building friendships, and just again making a positive difference in the world.
Kathy, it's Kathy Williams. Can I interject something here as you're going through these?
Yes, please do.
I found that it's very helpful if you will review this information that's required in the goals before you try to go online and do this. So a lot of clubs have just printed out what they did from the previous year and then use that with their board to discuss the goals and these activities, because there's a lot of detail here that's required that unless you sit down and actually discuss it with your club ahead of time, it's difficult to fill out all this information. So I would definitely suggest that you review it first, or print it out, or use it as a forum to have discussions in your club before you start to actually put the information in here.
I would agree, Kathy. Thank you. That's a great suggestion. Another good resource to use that can be vital is the presidential citation. And when that information becomes available, then again, you would want to align your club's goals with the presidential citation that's going to be issued, so that you know, well, hey, we need to, and they're moving more and more with online presence, so you want to have more of your members who have created their My Rotary account. And Rotary International is tracking all of this information, and so they know who has a My Rotary account and who doesn't, and who logs on and who doesn't. And not that, you know, they're the big brother watching over us, but they're wanting to know how Rotarians engage with Rotary International. And so there's a continued emphasis then to moving more and more of our interactions online and staying connected with each other online. So thanks, Kathy. So yes, absolutely meeting with your board, discussing these goals, presidential citation, and sometimes smaller clubs, or sometimes even larger clubs, it's somebody's just got to get in there and do it, and it is the president's responsibility, or president-elect in this case. So we've kind of scrolled down through the club goals. And Jeff, are we doing okay then as far as staying on track with this?
We're doing okay on time.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the service goals then next for the club. And again, same information. You can see the trends. Just love these bar graphs, and setting the goals, and then it shows you then actually what the accomplishments were. Scrolling down, young leaders. Let's see if I can do this. Then looking at service projects, we had a record number of clubs this year in the district who requested community grants, and this would be the place where you could enter your community grant that you're working on. Any other projects? Okay, I'm going to go back then. I entered our projects last year to include a 4-way test essay contest, the things that our club might have done with Interact, the Alamogordo Interact Club, or even supporting RILA. And so those are all good kinds of things that you can enter here. Do you support a Rotaract club? Do you support an Interact club? Again, many clubs are supporting inbound or outbound youth, and then your number of RILA participants then. And so those are good ways to keep track of the things that you're doing to make a difference in your community, and as well as in the district and throughout our world. And then foundation giving, and this actually has just been a big frustration this year, because I think fewer than half of the clubs in our district have actually set foundation goals. I'm not, Doreen, do you recall what that number is by any chance?
I don't recall the exact number, but it's important for the clubs to put these goals in here, because we need to have goals at the district level, and we don't set the goals, the clubs do. So we need the clubs to set the goals so that we know where we're going as a district. We don't do that from a top-down basis, it's from the bottom up. So we're not going to dictate to you what your goals are. We need you to let us know what your goals are.
Right, right. Kathy, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
No.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So again, real easily to set this information, we're looking at the annual fund, what you think your club might do. And this might be, well, it's like, well, I don't really know. So this is when it might be an opportunity to look at your past, your club's past trends. Again, the Rotary International makes it real easy then with the graphs to follow along where you've been and where you're going. Polio Plus, we all know the significance of Polio Plus and what we hope to accomplish with that. The major gifts and endowments, and again, this is where your presidential citation for the coming year could be helpful. One of those was to add, I think the year that I was president, was to add 2 new Paul Harris Society members, and so we'll take a look at that and see what your goals are going to be then for your year. And so, Jeff, in a nutshell, then that's our where we would be setting our club goals. And
Jeff, can I add a comment before we transition away from this?
Sure.
Okay. I think it's important to share these goals with all of your members too. I find that it helps me to reach the goals when people know where they are, and it motivates them to achieve the goals if they have that information. And then finally, when we were at the club activities, there were 2 items in there that many people might not know what they are. One is the Rotary action groups, Rotarian action groups, and those are groups of people that are normally engaged in specific activities on a professional level that lend their skills to other clubs and help advance projects. 3 of them, for example, are water and sanitation. One is population and development, another is microcredit. So if your club has an interest in doing projects in any of those areas, I encourage you to join a Rotarian action group. And then fellowships are less formal. I'm a member of the Global History Fellowship, and I find that interesting, the history of Rotary, especially when women were able to join. And that's of particular interest to me as a woman. There's even a Scotch drinking fellowship. So there's something there for everybody. I encourage you to explore those and have your members find out more about that.
Jeff, one last thing then, and going back to foundation and the importance of that, then you can, looking at the district view here, then we could see in 2013, 2014, then when we had just a tremendous generosity throughout the district and in supporting the foundation. That is the money that we are using in this year with our community grants. Again, a record amount of money, around roughly $90,000 that we're using with community grants this year. And so, again, the importance of our generosity going towards Rotary International Foundation, and that money comes back to us 3 years down the road then to invest back in our communities. So, thanks.
Great. So I believe, Kathy, that there was a tab, and you don't have to bring the screen back, but
okay.
When Kathy Williams talked about getting all the members involved and showing them the data, there's that reports tab on the left-hand side that I believe will generate reports about progress towards goals, which could be very helpful to distribute. The only other thing that may or may not be obvious, any club member can view goals in Club Central, but only certain people can add or enter or change. That's why it's very important when you notify Rotary International of who the club president is, who the membership chair is. Part of it is because Rotary International is going to give those people access to go in and add, change, and do things with goals. So if you haven't had access to go in and edit any of those, you should when you become a president-elect or a president. So you'll find that screen will change a little bit because you'll have greater access.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and you're absolutely right. Should have looked at this then, and we'll make sure to point this out then next week. But if you are logged into My Rotary right now and you're looking at this, then yes, just the importance of those reports. And so, yeah, easily done.
Thank you, Kathy. And Kathy's going to walk us through Club Runner in a few minutes as well. And if it isn't obvious already, you want to make sure that you are best friends with Kathy Fuller. As long as she is, she's a wonderful person, but as long as she is district secretary, you want to be on her good side.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff, this is Doreen again. I'm going to answer the chat, but we had somebody just share that they're president-elect and they couldn't access it. So if that's the case, it might be that your club secretary hasn't put the new district leaders in the Rotary International site. So Kathy, again, is a great resource to assist you or your club secretary in making sure that your club leadership is entered in the right database, and then you'll be able to access those reports and activities in Club Central.
Absolutely. Thank you, Doreen.
Okay, so Bruce, I'll check on your club, and And these, Doreen, thanks. If I could just piggyback off of that, then it another one of those very few requirements. But the officers for 2018, 2019, then is that right year? No, 2017, 2018. They need to be reported by the 1st of February. So we are quickly running out of time, and we want that information in now. So if you have any problems, like as Doreen said, please let me know.
Great. Okay, before we get into the next chapter, there's an appendix to the planning chapter where you can see what the strategic plan of Rotary International is. And I find this very helpful. First of all, it's nice to know that our parent organization has a strategic plan. I'm not surprised that it does not, but it also gives us a sense of what Rotary International's priorities are. Supporting and strengthening clubs. So through all of the training and all the support that you're getting, we want to make sure that the clubs are successful. You know, focus and increase humanitarian service and enhance public image and awareness. And so when you're thinking about your club's plan and goals, at least look at this as kind of are we doing things that are kind of in line with the priorities of Rotary International? The district does the same thing. So we use this as almost like a checklist or a sanity check for what we want to do. We don't want to do things that go against Rotary, but we want to try to look at things that are in line with what Rotary International is trying to accomplish as a global organization. So I'm glad that they included in the President's Manual. Okay, let's move on to Chapter 2. So club management. There's certain people that love being leaders, and there's certain people that love being managers. There's fewer that love being both. But managing the club affairs is really important, and this chapter kind of goes into some of the considerations there. So again, as president-elect, appoint and meet with your club administration committee. We'll talk in specifics about the club administration committee in a minute, but that's a really important group or person if you're a small club. Learn about the policies and procedures by reviewing the standard Rotary Club Constitution and recommended bylaws. Again, you can get those documents from Rotary.org. It's very helpful to look at those. Every couple of years, they typically get updated and revised. So it's important to kind of know what those documents contain and make sure that your club has its own constitution, although it's usually adopted just from what we get from Rotary International, and its bylaws. Make sure that they're up to date and current. There may be some legitimate reasons to make revisions to the bylaws. So as president-elect, you want to kind of have those things clear. And then when you're president, you want to run the meetings, make sure that they're engaging, oversee the club's reporting requirements, work very closely with your club secretary. Again, just like with Kathy, you want to make sure that you and your secretary are on the same page. It's almost like the left and right hand. Prepare for the district governor's visit and also visits from your AG or LG. Oversee the management of club finances. So again, you're going to be working with the club treasurer, your budget. If your club has its own foundation, you want to make sure that that is being well managed as well. Encourage members to attend district training. Minimize risk. Yes, there is risk associated with being in a Rotary Club. That's one of those things that, if you're into risk management, you just want to make sure that you're doing things, you can't eliminate risk, but you can certainly minimize it. And then finally, make certain that the Rotary logos are used properly. Rotary does put out specific guidance on how to use Rotary logos, whether it's on stationery or on your website. So there's just things for you to think about here that are more on the management side of your club. I do want to talk for a minute about, here's more discussion about My Rotary, which Kathy just walked us through. And there's a lot more sections to My Rotary than Club Central where you're entering goals. So the more you can get familiar with that, the better you will be. Okay.
I would just again, just support that statement then, that really it's just a matter of just getting in there and believing that what you want is there. If you can't find something, let me know. But the more time you spend in My Rotary, and again, it's just a great website, then the more comfortable you're going to be.
Great. I really agree with that. Okay, Club Administration Committee. So I'm glad that they're mentioned here. And by the way, the Club Administration Committee chair has a manual just for chairing that committee, just like the other club committees. But I'm glad they bring it up here. I'd like some other feedback on this, but I just want to start the discussion by saying that when I was president, I viewed the Club Administration Committee as almost like the COO. The president may not be getting involved in all of the day-to-day operations of how the club functions, the website, the meeting space, the food, the communications, all the day-to-day operations that has to take place. The Club Administration Committee, one of its common roles is to kind of oversee and manage a lot of those day-to-day operations. So with that in mind, if that's kind of one of its key roles, it makes sense for the secretary and the treasurer to be members of that committee, because if you're handling the day-to-day operations, the secretary is certainly involved in that, as is the treasurer. But there's other things that the club has to do that are beyond the purview of a secretary and a treasurer. So I think the reason why it's mentioned here is because you as a club president can't manage or shouldn't think about managing every little transaction that takes place within the purview of the club. You may be aware of it, but I think having a really effective, robust club administration committee with all of that detail is really important. Any comments, interjections from those who have been presidents before about club administration committee? Dick, Kathy, Doreen, Guy?
I'm happy to share. I've been a club president on 3 occasions, and you will burn yourself out in the first 3 months if you try to do everything. It can be hard to delegate because people don't always do things the way you might personally do them, but you want to give everybody that opportunity for leadership and direct, and then sit back and enjoy the ride. That's all I can say.
Any other comments on this? I just can't emphasize enough how important it is to be thinking about how are those day-to-day operations of the club, how are they going to happen? And how are they going to be overseen? So,
yeah, Jeff.
Yes.
Jeff, this is Dick. I would just support that comment by saying that one of the best things that I think you can do in preparing yourself for president is to encourage your board and your club members to use Rotary.org, and particularly the Rotary Club Central, because they have access to all of that material that Kathy has just been presenting. And so when you're presented with a question, remind them that they can look up the answer themselves and go right to the source documents of Rotary.
Yep, totally agree. The only other thing I would add to this is because of the unique nature of this committee, you want to make sure that the chair of that committee, as well as the members of the committee, understand what the day-to-day operations of the club are. So perhaps people on this committee would include people that have been past presidents, people that know what's going on, know what has to go on. You don't want, it's great to have new Rotarians be on this committee, but you wouldn't want an entire club administration committee of people that are new to Rotary. You do want some experience there because there's a lot of things that are going on or that need to go on that you may not get an announcement about, or may not be in the district bulletin, things like that. So having experience in the club is very important for the club administration committee. Okay. It talks about Rotary meetings, and those first 2 pages in the manual where there was all that flexibility, it does talk about flexibility in the meetings, changing times, locations, attendance, but the meetings are still a vital part of successful Rotary clubs. So it talks about, conducting those meetings and again, making sure that there's a clear agenda, programs, all the things that go into your Rotary meetings, making sure the secretary is there and tracking attendance. And then it's got a nice one-pager on sample agendas for club meetings. I think this is great. And they don't always have to be the same type of meeting. They could be club assemblies. They could be working meetings. They could be bring a friend meetings. So again, flexibility, not every meeting every week has to look exactly the same. So I like the idea that Rotary is kind of promoting that principle. Club assemblies. So just like the district is having an assembly in March, it is important that the club have assemblies to kind of bring members up to speed on how things are going. That would be a great place to go over, as Kathy Williams pointed out, how are we doing towards our club goals? So use a club assembly type format for that. It's also at the beginning of the year, a club assembly is a great way to get input from the membership. You don't want to wait till halfway through the year to say, what do you want to do this year? So using a club assembly may be a great opportunity to get input from the club membership to help prioritize what the club is going to be working on that year. So, I like the idea of maybe having an assembly once a quarter. Usually there's enough information to cover once a quarter for an assembly. The governor's visit, and Doreen, if you want to mention that now, that's fine, but it is very important that the club coordinate with the district governor and the district governor's ops director, which this upcoming year is going to be Rick Akins, on having the governor visit. So that's another important part of managing the club. And Doreen, it's up to you if you want to talk any about that, but that's a very important part of the managing the club function, is making sure that governor's visit goes smoothly.
Okay.
Dave has completed his first round of club visits, and from what I hear, they went very well. But we hear occasionally where the governor comes and the club had gotten another speaker to speak during the same meeting, so the governor really didn't have the time to make whatever presentation the government was going to do. So just from a logistics standpoint, as well as a program standpoint, it's just really important to coordinate with the district governor and the district governor ops person on when that visit is going to occur, what the agenda is going to be, and so on.
Jeff, did you want me to comment here, or did you just
It is totally up to you, Doreen.
Okay. What I want to share is that we've tried to incorporate, or I'm hoping to incorporate, at the district level, all of the flexibility that was offered through the council on legislation changes. So toward that goal, I want to make it easier for professionals to serve Rotary at all levels. That's one reason why we shortened the PET schedule, so that you should only have to miss one day of work and one night away from home unless you have to travel a longer distance. And then for the district governor, we want to make it possible for people that are still engaged in their careers to serve the district as governor. I'm going to be, through Rick Akins, I'm going to be offering 4 different choices for the governor's visit. One of those is a traditional club visit, but in thinking about the way that I can best serve your clubs and help you to grow a vibrant club and maintain or grow your membership, I'd like you to also consider having the meeting on an alternate day, like perhaps a Saturday, when you can have family members or prospective Rotarians join us. I could assist you with a strategic planning or visioning session for your club. I'm happy to join you and bring some volunteers to help with one of your fundraising or service activities. Or if you're in a larger community where multiple clubs meet, please consider having a multi-club visit and invite all Rotarians, and I can give the program on that occasion. So that's just some food for thought. Rick will be visiting individually with your clubs to find out what your preferences are.
And it's interesting that RI President John is promoting the idea of multi-club visits, and it's in a lot of the Rotary manuals. It's in the President's Manual, the District Governor's Manual. So the flexibility that we saw with the Council legislation, Rotary International President John is looking, just like Doreen said, is looking for other ways to interact with the governor and to have the clubs come together to better utilize resources and take more advantage of the opportunity. So I'm glad to see that as well. Okay, there's a few other things here about elections. Again, we want to make sure that everyone's identified by the time Rotary International needs to know who's going to be serving in what roles. There's a lot of reporting requirements. A lot of that you'll be doing through Kathy Fuller. Make sure that reports get into Rotary International, whether it's attendance reports or what's called the semi-annual invoice, I believe it's called, for the dues given the number of members that are in the club. There's discussion about the Constitution and bylaws. And again, you just want to make sure that they are up to date. The Constitution is adopted from a template that you get from Rotary International, and all you do is you put in your club name and the club location and so on. There isn't a lot of flexibility in the Constitution. You basically adopt what you get from RI. But with the bylaws, there's quite a bit of flexibility. You just want to make sure that your bylaws are still within the overall purview of what the Rotary guidance is. But that's where the flexibility is, and that can involve whether you have a satellite group. It can involve whether you're changing the meeting times or how you're dealing with members and attendance, those kind of things. So you just want to be very familiar with the Constitution and bylaws. And I believe, Dick, you're going to be giving us an update at PETS on a couple of changes that may affect club bylaws. Is that correct?
Yes, we're going to have a presentation on bylaws and talk about some other administrative changes that will, we hope, make the district work flow better. We will have some initial information out prior to PETS so that it will go directly to the club presidents, president-elects, and then we'll do the formal presentation at PETS.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay. Talk about financial management. So again, it's very important that you have a good working relationship with your club treasurer and that you've got a financial management plan. That also becomes very important if you are the recipient of a grant, that in order to receive that grant, you have to have a financial management plan in place so that the money that you're getting from the district or from Rotary International or from your partners is being effectively managed as well. Dom, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Did you want to add anything about the financial management plan?
Only that it's going to be a requirement, as you said, for your grant applications.
Okay. So very important part of club management. We talked. Oh, sorry.
Excuse me, Jeff. Sorry. I would just, again, echo what Dom just said then. Anytime anyone applies for either a global grant or a community grant, they ask me, are they up to date on their membership attendance reports? Are they up to date on their dues? And sometimes I have to say no. And so it's an easy thing for presidents, secretaries, treasurers to take care of. And I'm always, again, glad to help if there are any questions. So keep that information up to date.
Okay, this club invoice section, it's small, but it's mighty. So you really want to make sure you understand how the club invoice works. It happens twice a year. It's how Rotary gets paid, and it's got to be based on the membership that Rotary International believes you have. So if your club is not keeping accurate records on membership and letting RI know and letting the district know, then it's going to calculate the wrong number for how you're going to get invoiced. So among other things, make sure that you get those member numbers into the district and into RI every month when you have a new member come or if a member resigns, because that's how it bases the invoice. So that's really important. Kathy, did you want to add anything to that?
Just that the invoices, I think, went out either Thursday or maybe early yesterday. And so, and I got an email from someone that was surprised by that. And you know, they're sent out every year, early July, early January then. District only invoices once a year, but RI always invoices twice a year. And you're absolutely right. It's based on the information that's in Rotary International database, Club Central, and not what's on the district. So,
right.
Thanks.
Okay. And then it talks about risk management. You know, we'll just touch on that briefly. I mean, as I said, you know, risk management is one of those unfortunate realities these days. Things happen. A club member may get in trouble. There may be some bad press that takes place. Risk management also comes up quite a bit with the youth program. So if you've got youth exchange or RILA, things like that, there's risk that has to be managed in association with dealing with children. So just be aware of the risk that's involved and make sure that you have a plan in place to manage that risk and not let it get out of control. Okay, then the appendix.
Jeff?
Yes, sir. Dick?
This is Dick, before you move on.
Yes.
Regarding youth, the district does have, and they're on the website, some youth protection policies that the clubs should become very familiar with. And because we consider the safety of our youth as paramount in the district, all of our counselors at RILA go through background checks. All of our counselors and volunteers that work with our youth exchange students go through background checks. The district does have that in place. And the district is also able to provide background checks for clubs that are using or that have interact programs or have programs where there are Rotarians that will be involved with a person under 18, and we're happy to offer the service of providing those background checks at no charge to the clubs, and they can contact me for more information on that.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much for sharing that. Okay, we are doing fine on time. If you notice, it's close to 10:30 and we finish at 11. Some of these chapters we're not going to go through in as much detail because they're going to be covered more at PETS. So we are doing fine on time. So appendix to chapter 2 has information about training events like PETS, like the district assembly, seeking an idea of the types of training offerings that districts typically offer. Grant management seminar, that's a very important one. If your club is going to be applying for a grant, there has to be 2 club members attending to be eligible. So that's one where there's not a lot of flexibility. It's got to be 2 club members to apply for a grant, and that's every single year. So so please make sure that you're aware of the different trainings and what their purpose is, and you'll see a lot of them on the district calendar on the district website. Typically, you have to register for those events anyway, so you'll get information. They're also usually explained in the district bulletin that Kathy puts together with Ed Hughes and others.
Jeff, can I bring in Dom on the grants management seminar?
Sure.
Dom, are you listening?
Yes, I am.
So we're planning to offer a grants management seminar as part of the district assembly, but the questions that I have fielded regarding that are, will it count for 2017, 2018, since we're wrapping up 2016, 2017?
It would count for 2017 and 2018.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
The one that we have held in the past is still in effect until those that have been trained now are still on the rolls until 30 June.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Let's move on to chapter 3. So this is really dealing with leadership. So the last chapter was management. This one really is leadership, making sure that you're motivating the membership, clear communications, making sure that club committee chairs know what they're responsible for. A lot of these things we're going to cover at PETS. I'm not sure, I don't want to cover too much of this here, just to kind of keep us on track, but I would say look over chapter 3, but keep in mind you're going to get a lot more of this when you get to PETS coming up in February. It's very important, you know, you're thinking about that club administration committee and your secretary and your treasurer and the others who are working on the day-to-day stuff. As Doreen pointed out, you can't, as president, have specific oversight and management over all of it. It's too much. And it doesn't matter whether it's a club of 150 or a club of 20. You're just going to get overwhelmed. But you do have to serve as the leader of your club. And the membership are going to be looking to you to lead the club. And so the skills and the styles and the behaviors of being an effective leader are really important. And, you know, we're all different. We all have our strengths and our opportunities for improvement. But one of the things we want to be able to do is to help you be an effective leader, especially if you haven't had the opportunity to serve in a leadership role before. So we're going to have some sessions at PETS to kind of talk about how you can hone your leadership skills, get some experience. The nice thing is that in most cases, and I look to the person from Los Alamos who is president-elect and is now president-elect, that means you have one less year to prepare. I know of people who were president-elect and their president left and they had to step in immediately. And that's really challenging because they may not have had the opportunity to kind of get some comfort level with their own leadership skills. So it was kind of trial by fire. But to the best we can do, we want to make sure that you are comfortable serving as a leader for your club. And the more experience you can get when you're president-elect, the better. I know that there's some clubs, and I don't know if there's any that are on this call this morning, some clubs, they'll have their president-elect serve as chair of their big fundraising event, which involves a lot of the membership anyway, to kind of give them experience, not necessarily with their own leadership skill, but what does the membership respond to? What style or what approach gets their support? So there's many ways to think about it. My recommendation is just be thinking about your own leadership styles, maybe work with your assistant governor. And again, you'll get some more kind of hands-on practice and some really good best practices at PETS. Anyone want to bring up anything on leadership before we get to the next chapter? Okay. We're not robots, we are people. It does have, in the appendix for Chapter 3, a sample club committee structure. This would be for a medium to a large size club where it's got different, perhaps, subcommittees, but you'll see club administration, membership, public relations, service projects, and Rotary Foundation. That's what Rotary recommends, how you set up your committees. You're not obligated to do that, but there's some reasons why it may make sense because there's manuals for each of those committees on what they're responsible for if you organize like that. And they also have what it may look like for a larger club, again, with maybe subcommittees. And then for a small club, it may not be a committee. It may just be one or two people for each that are working on it. But it is important that you have a similar structure in how you organize the work that the club has to do. Okay. Your members. So this chapter gets into a lot of the membership, and as you can imagine, that's going to be a major topic at PETS. There's a number of responsibilities pointed out down here. Again, as president-elect, you want to get your membership committee locked and loaded. Make sure that they are familiar with what the club goals are, strategic plan. Is the club in a growth mode? Is the club in a, let's stay where we are mode? What is the club trying to accomplish? Recruitment and retention. And by the way, Kathy Williams, you can jump in at any time since you are very involved in district membership. Dick as well. There's a lot we're going to cover at PETS, but this chapter really covers a lot of those membership issues very well. So again, just be very familiar with what is your club trying to accomplish. It may be a diversity goal. It may be that the club wants to form a satellite group because there's people that want to be part of the club that can't attend the regular meetings. There may be a goal involved with getting Rotaractors into your Rotary Club since that's now allowable. So just be very clear about what you're trying to accomplish with membership. And just like with anything else, you don't want to have 6 or 7 goals related to membership because the more goals you have, the harder it is to track and accomplish them. So I would say try to focus on the critical few. What does your club really want to accomplish in terms of membership? And as Kathy Fuller pointed out, all of that will be tracked in Club Central. So you've got a great tool to be showing progress towards your membership goals, show them to the club maybe every quarter, make sure the board is involved. So there's obviously a lot here. Kathy or Dick, did you want to add anything?
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it sounds good to me.
Okay. More to come at PETS.
Yes.
I would also say when it comes to the membership committee, it's always nice to have, if you're going to have a committee, it's always nice to have diversity on committees. You don't want to have a group of people that always feel exactly the same way about everything. My personal experience is that the membership committee really does need to be diverse because part of the role of the committee is to identify what types of members are we going to try to recruit, what is going to be our retention strategies, and retention may be very different for people that have been in the club for 20 years versus people that have been in the club for 1 or 2 years. So if your membership committee is diverse, in a sense, it's representing the diversity you'd like to see in the club itself. So I would say think about diversity in your membership committee as maybe a key strategy to be effective. Kathy or Dick, any comment on that?
Just to add to that, once they sign up for My Rotary, you can go to the Learning Center, and if you look under the section of membership, it's amazing how many resources are out there about membership that you can use regardless of your club size. And then you can also, you could join discussion groups where you can talk to people all over the world about what they're doing with membership, and people post new ideas there all the time. So you can sign up for the Membership Minute, which is a publication that gives you great membership tips every month. So once you get into My Rotary and you go to that Learning Center, there's all kinds of stuff about membership. It's very, very helpful.
That's great. Thank you. I missed a cue because I see we're on page 36. I was supposed to cue Kathy on page 30 because page 30 has this nice little section called Working with Your District. So Kathy, if this is a good time, you can take controls and maybe do a quick district website view.
Okay, great. Yes. All right. And so, Jeff, you want to go ahead and let me share that then? And
you should be able to share now.
Okay. All right then. And trying to. Can you see it? Jeff, can you see my page?
Not yet.
Okay, and I'm trying to get to the other share screen button. And it's not.
Here we go.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that then. So folks, just as Rotary.org website is just really our key link then to Rotary International, and the great information, great resources as you've heard, whether it's learning materials or membership materials or branding materials, even being able to order great information for your club. This is our district website, and it's the website address is Rotary 5520. That's because that's our district number, Rotary5520.org. And you see a great picture here of our district governor Dave and our friend I think Juan then in Carlsbad. Okay, I'm going to embarrass myself here, but one of the we've just Jeff is just a huge help with the website, and you see then that we have YouTube, and I imagine probably this training will be available on YouTube then, Jeff, when you get that taken care of. So you can see a conference registration. I think Kathy probably put that very nice. Boy, doesn't that look like fun already there? So you can click on that link for conference registration. Here you see our district vision statement that we want everyone to understand, achieve, and sustain, share service above self. And so this is one of those resources that we're making available. So YouTube, great stuff here. And Jeff has also gotten us connected with Facebook. And here are the great guys that were in Las Vegas not too long ago, polio information. Here's Mario DeJesu in Korea then with our Don't Meth With Us display, and he's going to be in Atlanta again. That's by invitation. You apply for that, and then you're invited to come to international conference and so our international convention. So Mario's going to be there again. Here we have upcoming events on the left-hand side, and you guys are, hopefully you're here today then with the prePETS, and you'll also see then the PETS registration here. So you just click on that, and that will take you then to registration.
Kathy, I'd just like to point out to make sure that they sign in under the member area with their club runner name, number, whatever, because some of these areas, you'll get a lot more information if you'll sign into the member area first.
Let me just go ahead and do that then. I'll just go to PETS. I have not registered for PETS yet, and not that I'm going to do it right now, but this is what the site will look like, and you would use your same, you could just log in. This is what Kathy's talking about. You would put your username in and then your password, and then sign in, and then that will automatically populate.
And it fills all of the fields and everything.
Right, right here. So now you can see who I am, and my husband Tom when he still wants to stay married to me, and there's all that good information. So so anyway, yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys at PETS. Understand then that a couple of you won't be able to make it, but we'll look forward to meeting your club representatives then. So I'm going to leave that. So just take a look at the website.
Kathy, can I jump in on PETS really quickly? If you haven't registered for PETS yet, that's okay. The most important thing to do right now, especially if you need Thursday night accommodations at the hotel, is to register with the hotel, because they are almost sold out on Thursday, February 23rd. And I'm trying to get 5 more rooms in the block, but right now we have 10 available. Most people are only going to stay on Friday and possibly Saturday nights. But if you're traveling from, say, Taos or Los Alamos or Raton, you might want to stay Thursday night. And those rooms are going to go fast because the hotel is sold out, almost sold out on that.
Thanks, Doreen. Good information then. And again, if you should have any problems, then let Doreen or Rick Akins know then, and they can help you out. So one of the confusing things then, and if you haven't already created your account then with the district website, it's easy to do. I'm going to just scroll down to the bottom of the page. Here are login instructions down here at the very bottom then that can help with that. Again, if you have problems, let me know, but it's pretty straightforward. It's been a long time since I've done it, so I'm afraid I'm not going to be a lot of help. But we'll click in member area. I'm already kind of sort of logged in member area. And this is where it gets a little confusing. So you'll have a login already, and then you're going to want to go again. Then as presidents, this is when you want to kind of get into the database, into Club Runner. You'll go back up to the member area, the upper right-hand corner here, and click on member area. And again, look, there's all kinds of stuff, district event calendar. And again, I think your website, your web page is going to look different from mine. But this is really the guts, the heart of how we manage the district here in our information, whether it's invoicing, membership, attendance. This is really kind of what I work with, what I manage, or I try to manage. You can do everything. As you can look at membership detail, you can find out who your members are. You can edit your officers. So I just looked at Taos Milagro, and I'll be going through the rest of the clubs then to see who still needs to enter their officers for the coming year. If you need to change information, data, then that's possible there. One of the cool things is you can edit your own profile. You could put a picture of I don't know. Here's my profile. I did some work with Imagino Malaria a few years ago, and haven't changed my profile. But here's some information about me. I'm still trying to change my birth date to 1963, but that hasn't happened yet. So here's your basic personal information. You can go to your Rotary link there, and here you can find out what kind of a membership you have. And we don't use Club Runner then as a club then to report our with our attendance. So we don't post that there, but that's might be a little bit of a misnomer.
Kathy, can you address with them the difference between reporting information to RI as opposed to reporting information to the district? Because we have lots of clubs that will send their information into RI, but because their club doesn't use Club Runner, that information is, if they log it in, it's not loaded into that. So you still need them to do reports to you, correct?
That's correct, and yes. So we do have quite a few clubs then that have their own Club Runner websites, which is great, and it's I think it's a great resource. They're targeted to Rotary clubs. But you will want to make sure though that you are actually entering your club data through the district site, not your club site. And I think that's what you're talking about then, right?
Well, if your club does use Club Runner, if you enter it into Club Runner, it uploads it to RI. If your club doesn't have a separate Club Runner for your own club, then you have to put it in both places, because just sending it to RI will not, RI doesn't send it back down to our Club Runner site.
Okay. Yeah, you may raise a good point, and to be truthful, I don't know the answer to this then, Kathy, and so I might need to work with somebody then to figure this out. But if you're entering your attendance then through, let's say you have a club site using Club Runner, I don't know that if you enter the attendance there that it actually populates the district site. I don't think that happens.
RI does not send information back down to the district Club Runner site. If you use Club Runner, it will, you only have to put the information in one time in your own local Club Runner thing, and it will populate the district Club Runner and RI. But if you just send your information to RI, it does not send it back down to us. That's why we have lots of clubs, if we look at these reports, that say NR, like not reported, because they probably have reported it to RI, but they haven't reported it to the district.
Okay.
So they should be sending it to you as well as to RI. And the same thing goes for the officers in their club. Sometimes they have sent it into RI, but if they're not going to send that down to the district site.
Okay.
That's my understanding anyway. Jeff, is that your understanding?
It is. And from what I've been told, sometimes the connection between RI and the district website is not very fast. So it may take a day or two for one system to talk to the other. But what I always tell the secretaries is don't assume anything. Make sure that both sites have the correct information, because sometimes there may be a disconnect.
Yes. So I generally start then with excuse me, with Club Runner, and then go on and check my Rotary, and that way then I know what's happening in the district, and then can verify that through RI. So for members, again, you can go back to editing your profile. You can change your password. One thing that probably the most common question I get asked is, please give me the address or phone number for Jeff Weinrich, who's hiding in Albuquerque, and so I can go to the search member e-directory. And then for club executives, then this is really where it's important. Then the presidents, the club's secretaries and treasurers can go to, but reporting the club attendance, and so your club will come up automatically, and this is where you would be entering your attendance, and that's just another one of those rules. But we're supposed to report our attendance to every month, no later than the 15th of each month. And I get some people that get pretty upset with me, but I'm not the attendance police. I just send out the reminder that you need to submit your attendance, and this is where you would do that. And I think probably Doreen and Cheryl Saavedra, our membership chair for the district. Is Cheryl going to be the district chair again for you, Doreen?
Yes.
Okay, so Cheryl will be.
Yes, I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yes.
Okay, so she'll be checking that. But this is where you submit your attendance. Then, trying to think of what else we have. But again, this is just a great resource. And what I look at then, and we talked about the connection between Club Runner and Club Central or RI. And this is bottom thing here, this RI member synchronization. And so that's what I check with clubs. And so if you see that there's a discrepancy between your membership, especially as everyone gets their invoice here in the, if they're accessing it right now, you'll see a discrepancy, then it might be this member synchronization issue that we have. And so what's also important is, I'm going to go back up here then, just because I can do this more quickly with my own membership, club membership. Anyway, I'm going to pick on Alamogordo again then. Just looking at the executives, I can pull up the executives for this year. And you'll see then we've got our current year, 2016, 2017. And I'm just going to go ahead and go on to next year then, just to see what's there. And oh yeah, hooray, good. Okay, we've got an excellent executive secretary who takes really, really good care of us. Yeah. She just had knee surgery, so I'm trying to be nice to her. But she's already populated the information then for our upcoming Rotary year. And so our president is going to be Mary Piper, just a great lady. And so here you see that we've got our president-elect, our treasurer, executive secretary, and then our board members, and then some other folks then as well. So this is what's missing then. So if you're not able to access the club goal setting club goal setting a capability in My Rotary, then that's because you're not there yet. And so please have your club secretaries or club presidents make that information available. Then it's real easy to do.
Kathy, just another point. When it says president, that's actually currently president-elect, because this is all for 2017, 2018.
Correct.
And president-elect is actually the person who'll be president-elect starting in July. What a lot of clubs may not realize is by December 31st, they should have already elected the president who will serve in 2018, 2019.
Right. So, hey, Angelita and Michelle, I'm going to pick on you guys, okay? Because I'm sure Connie probably has this done as well. I'm going to go to White Sands.
We are just telling you to do that too, Kathy.
Oh, thanks. Where are you guys? How come we're not together? Huh? We should be drinking.
Oh, we're at Plateau.
Woohoo! Oh, you guys are just down the street.
Yeah.
Did you hear me set off the alarm at the college this morning? Okay, so here we have our president-elect, who's Michelle Bordeaux. So here's Michelle. Yay, Michelle! And we're going to go to next year. Okay, I've got my fingers crossed.
Yes.
Yay! Woohoo! Yay, Connie! And so here we have Michelle Bordeaux as our president, and Angelita. Yay, Angelita! She sells great Toyota cars. So
Wow.
Toyota. See, Angelita. So here are the officers. Then, as you were saying. So again, everybody needs to have that done by February 1st, and so the election should have been done by the end of December, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so does that answer questions there? And so again, the club runner website, I'll go back if I can go home here. I think I need to minimize you guys and go back to home page then. But it's just a great resource, a great way to keep in touch with folks. District Governor Dave has done a really good job of making sure that we get information posted on our district event calendar, and we're trying to share more information just to create. I mean, there are so many incredible things that happen in our district, and we don't even know about them. And so we're trying to do better things then, as far as communicating with one another, sharing ideas, and that, again, that's just a really great thing that happens at PETS, that synergy and connecting with the other presidents that are going to be your compadres then for the coming year. So, Jeff, I think I've talked long enough, and we're getting close to 11 o'clock. So,
all right. Thank you, Kathy.
And I'm going to stop sharing. Bye, Angelina. I love you. Bye.
Okay. Let's see. So we have a few minutes left, and just wanted to walk you through the last 3 chapters. And again, a lot of this information will be covered at PETS, so we're not going to go over it in detail, but a big chapter on promoting Rotary public image is one of the 3 major pillars for Rotary to be successful. Doreen at our district planning talked a lot about the importance of kind of having a membership track and a Rotary Foundation track, but also a public image track. We have to get the word out. I see that we're making improvements, but it's still an area where we have opportunities. So be thinking about how you want to do public image and public relations. If your club already has kind of a vibrant public relations track, you certainly want to take advantage of that. And if they don't, be thinking about how you can put one together. And if your club doesn't have members who are knowledgeable with public image or public relations, that becomes perhaps a membership strategy to recruit someone into the club who has that skill set or who has the connections in the community to help get the word out. It doesn't happen by itself. So we'll just kind of gloss through that. It does talk about the Public Relations Committee. Again, there's a separate manual for them. And it's interesting, and here's where it talks about the Rotary marks, the logos. Make sure that you're following the appropriate Rotary procedures in using the logo correctly, or not misusing it. But one thing we talk about in Rio Grande Academy with public image is that you really have 2 brands to promote. We have the Rotary brand, which we all promote, and we have our club brand. So whatever the public relations strategy is, we really need to be thinking about promoting Rotary and promoting our own club, and they're not necessarily the same thing.
Jeff?
Yes, sir.
If I can jump in here, One thing that is good for the presidents to know is that they can, if they're using a printer or a designer to set up their brochures and use the Rotary logos and things like that, that individual or that company can go and set up an account on My Rotary and have access to all of those logos and all of the design elements and requirements. And so there's nothing lost in translation from the club to the presenter in doing that work.
Perfect. Now that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing that, Dick.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 6 is the Rotary Foundation. We've already talked a little bit about this. You're going to get a lot more about it at PETS. I know Dom is on the call. I think Yale, are you still with us? He may or may not be. So just to kind of summarize very quickly about this, you'll get a lot more PETS.
Still here, Jeff.
Oh, got it. Okay, so Yale, feel free to jump in if you need to correct something I say. But when you think about the Rotary Foundation and your club, there's kind of like there's two arrows, one going in, one going out. Coming in is what we talked about with grants and grants management and whether they're global grants or district grants, things like that. But there's also the arrow going out. And Kathy showed the 5-year trend for our donations to the Rotary Foundation. But part of the job of your Rotary Foundation committee is to kind of keep motivating the club to contribute, whether it's to the annual fund or to Polio Plus. But, you know, we get that money back to support the grants. So Yale and others at the district will come to your club and kind of talk about how the members can get involved with the foundation, the different ways that they can donate, the different ways that they would get recognized for their donations to the foundation. So just think about the Rotary Foundation and your club as kind of the two-directional arrow. And we really need to put as much attention into the arrow going out as we do the arrow coming in. Yale, did you want to add anything briefly on that?
Nope.
No. Okay. A lot more to come at PETS on that. And by the way, not everything with the Rotary Foundation is grants. The Rotary Foundation also supports scholarships and Peace Fellows and other things. So it's important for presidents-elect to learn about all the wonderful things that the foundation does because they do a lot more than supporting grants, although that's certainly a big part of it. The last chapter is about projects. And again, we just have a few minutes left, but the feedback we've received, and I've been the district trainer now, this is my 2nd year, although I started a little bit the year before. But when we ask Rotarians, why are you in Rotary? The most common answer is either fellowship or service. And so the whole idea of having projects around service, whether it's service in your local community or service internationally or service with youth, that's a lot of why Rotarians are Rotarians. And so it's important to have a very robust, effective projects committee that can coordinate all these various activities, get the club motivated to work on them, identify partners, work with other clubs in the area. But this is obviously a big part of what makes a Rotary Club successful. And again, we'll talk more about that at PETS. But in a minute or two that we have left, any thoughts, interjections on service projects and how important they are to being a vibrant club?
Jeff, I think it was really when I attended the bi-district in Las Cruces several years ago, then that I just really had a greater sense for what Rotary is all about then, in working with our fellow Rotarians from Mexico. And so, and then again, working with others, whether it's in your club or in your town, the times that we've collaborated with Tularosa and White Sand, it just gives you I don't know, that's what Rotary is all about to me, is the service projects and doing stuff. So that's just so important.
Yeah. And here's a very nice appendix in the back of the chapter that has all the various types of service that the club can get involved in. And again, my only recommendation is don't try to like jump on all of these. You know, focus on a critical few, right? The ones that make the most sense for your club, your community, and so on. So a lot of really useful information here. That is our medium dive into the Club President's Manual, a little bit into the Leading a Vibrant Club, a little bit into Club Central and Club Runner. This was a 2-hour pre-PETS, and it is 2 hours. So are there any final questions before we close? And again, you'll all get a survey because we do want your feedback on how this went. It needs to be open and honest and brutal because it's new, and we always use your feedback to improve. So please provide us with that feedback. But before we close, are there any final comments, thoughts? I am hearing none.
I just want to thank you, Jeff, and I want to thank everyone for participating. I'm looking forward to meeting everyone at
Perfect. Well, I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday.
Jeff,
oh, sorry.
Tom Antrim is trying to say something.
Oh, I just turned on the screen to just say thank you to all of you. I think for speaking for myself, it's a little bit of brain overload today with all of this information, but you've prompted me to schedule some Rotary time in my daily activities here. So thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And you know, PETS has always been described as, you know, getting information through a fire hose. If anything, pre-PETS is a little bit of a precursor. There'll be a lot more opportunity to get this information at PETS, but so more to come, but thank you for the feedback. Okay, so if you're a glutton for punishment, you can always join us next week. And the other thing is this is going to be on YouTube, so you'll have a chance to sit back and you know, with a cold beer or a glass of wine, watch this 2 hours and maybe get a little bit more than what you got just sitting here today. I will send out that YouTube link later along with the survey. And if there's nothing else, I do want to also thank Kathy and thank everyone else who participated, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.